Hello everybody and welcome back to the Gaming Geezer 1965. And this time I'm going to preserve one of my most favorite small cheap programs that is pretty rare today. I tried using disk copiers to do it all in one go for the full disk. That didn't work. So I first did one test before I set up my camera gear again, because today I already started trying to preserve my games, but I started with something more difficult, and so far I only had luck with that only once. So I wanted still to create a video to show you at least how you can secure games that you have. For instance, you can just get it into memory and will not run automatically, and then you can just copy it over to a freshly made own disk ROM, or floppy ROM I should say. First of all, let me show you the settings, how I could make this one load in the data and then I could save it onto the virtual drive of the Commodore 64 Ultimate. First we go to the built-in drive settings. This one, the first one, that is on, as you can see, device bus 8, I have been disabling that, because if you enable the virtual drive, the Commodore 64 will try to access them both at the same time, confusing the system. That will not work. So turn this one off, makes this one fully the default number 8 disk drive. Drive B I have set to enabled and is drive bus 9. I didn't use my Jiffy DOS ROM because you can't use Jiffy DOS when you are copying in this mode, because this drive doesn't have Jiffy DOS, and I don't know if it matters if the Commodore has Jiffy DOS in its ROM and only the internal, the emulated drive, if only that one would have Jiffy DOS. So to make sure that copying my stuff works, I just disabled this Jiffy DOS. So I will show you my memories and ROM settings, and as you can see, the kernel ROM is just none. No Jiffy DOS or a manual enter. Then, as another preparation, I will go to the beginning, yes. I've created a folder on the SD card. So we enter the SD card. This was a copy of my USB stick, so the USB content folder, we are also entering this. And here you get to see backup Ronald Floppies. We will enter this. I've already made 3 folders. One of them contains an empty, I will show you, an empty disk image called copy utilities. But so far I haven't been successful to make a complete copy of those utilities to that disk. So I went back on the wrong way. So like this. Let's go to Big Mouth, because that's the program that I'm going to rescue. Enter. I must be honest and say, as a test, I already copied the main program, the most important one. And moving that to disk worked. So it's working. And I will show you. Well, usually it would be "8", but now the virtual drive is 9, so 9. And I will show you the list. And there it is. We got Big Mouth. And now I want to secure the demo. So all I have to do now is get back here, load the directory of drive number 8. And that will be this original drive. It's so weird that this one is even more quiet asking for the directory than the built-in drive. I mean, so that's the thing that I was wondering while I was showing you the very few demos and things in my first video. That's a definite no, they didn't emulate the head placement because the drive noise it makes is differently. So the noises outside of your Commodore 64 Ultimate, they are completely random, but that doesn't matter. That doesn't make it less fun. And I did it too fast, so another list and then quit before it over. I will not copy all these games. I don't care about them. I already got them. But this demo, let me first tell you a bit of a story about Big Mouth. I was very young. I was driving a moped and I went to Rotterdam. And suddenly I drove across a computer shop called Calimero Computer Shop. So I thought, let's head inside and see what they've got. And except for a lot of Commodore 64 stuff, they had all kinds of software. Also very rare and not, some things like Big Mouth wasn't sold a lot because everybody wanted to play games. They didn't even know what Big Mouth was. Me included. I didn't know that Big Mouth was a speech synthesizer. So I only bought this cassette because it had a keyboard fluently going over into lips. In other words, your Commodore 64 has a big mouth. And when I took it home and I run the program, it would say, "Welcome to Big Mouth." You've already heard that in the previous video, I guess. And the most rare thing about my version is the colors of the text and the background will remain in the Commodore colors. But if you see the version that's going around on the internet and you download that and you play that, then you will have the blue background but yellow letters. And yes, I know you can just poke the color of the letters back to normal, but this is my game and I already made a dump on it back in the time when I was still playing on my original Commodore 64. So let's load this from drive 8. It's very small and so it will be very fast. And I want to, oh stupid. I want to use the name file name. So I'm going to load the directory and list it. And then I will go to this one. And instead of load, I will say save demo. But instead of "8, because then it will go back to this drive, I'll say "9. And let's remove the program, otherwise we get an error message. It doesn't matter that you got a lot of spaces. When you press return, it will just do what the computer, is supposed to do. Yes, I'm lazy and leaning backwards and then I think, oh wait a minute, then I'm outside of the frame. So we've got this. I can even list it, but I cannot run it because Big Mouth is not in the memory. I want to do the rescuing thing, copy them over. But the list looks a bit like this. Huh? Oh, wait a minute. I thought I had a... Let's load the directory from drive 9. Because I want to check it. And then list. Yes, finally, there it is. So the demo is there. I want to show you the demo as a matter of fact. It will not do anything, but at least you can see how Big Mouth works. So this was the demonstration. So when I bought the program and I checked how the speech was made with the command SPK, and within these quotation marks, as long as it stays within 2 rows of code, then you could let the computer speak. The top poke numbers are for the pitch of the voice and the speed of the voice. And when you change these numbers, he will speak slower or faster. And as you can see, since first you got a poke number and then he says I can talk slowly, so you know that this number is the number that makes the speed go up or down depending on what you've put in here. And then it will return to the basic settings. As you can see, the same number as above. That writing is very fun to see. The thing is, I've tested the same with regular English and that works just as fine. So I don't know why they did this. Let's new and load the directory again. So bdemo is saved. So let's load from the original disk again. When I press enter and immediately hold Control, the list will go way slower. I see there's some more. Unfortunately, I cannot select a few programs. That's why I wanted to use actually a copy program instead of doing it manually. But I couldn't get that to work today, even though the very first thing I did, I could get to work. I will show you this at the end of the video. Oh, I already did in the previous video. Never mind. You will get to see that if I'm not mistaken. But well, it doesn't hurt to show it in this video as well, because I might be mistaken, because I tried to make a lot of videos today. Almost my whole Sunday is gone, so to speak. And all I could come up with is this video I'm recording now. So it could be that I showed this, what I want to show in the end, in a failed making a video of how to secure your software. So let's go to Rhyming Mouth. Let's load this in. This is just some fooling around from me. So you don't have to search for this. This is something that I just made or typed in myself. And that was done by a very young Ronald. And immediately save it. Maybe the abbreviation is S and then A. So let's just give it a go and press Command 9. Yes. So S and then Shift A is a short for save. Let's load the directory again from drive 8 and let's copy the next program. I will not do them all. I mean, this video will get very boring for you to see. So this actually will be the final one that I will be doing. So Rhyming Mouth I did, and now I will do I'm Big Mouth. So list. And that has to come from 8. I just love that sound, man. I'm already very happy that the drive survived. And I was afraid because a lot of the games and utilities can be found online. And it doesn't matter if you get the American version, the European version. There may be some differences in these games, but this, for me, is a trip down memory lane. So I want to make sure that this will not go away. No, I want to save, so S, A. And then let's put it to the proper drive. Okay, so we are ready. And I want to end the video with showing you my savings of Koala Paint. Because I have a copy disk and it loaded in one go. I make a copy of the Koala Paint program. And then I wanted to do this CD or CD floppy in one go. But suddenly the copy program didn't want to load in anymore. So if I only have made a copy of the copy program instead of Koala Paint, then at least I would have secured the tools that I need to copy a disk. But no, I was so stupid in making a mistake and just saved Koala Paint, and that's everything I can save. Let's go to the disk file browser and let's get out of there. So Koala Paint is over here. Let's mount this disk on B, just to be sure that everything is out of memory. 9, because I want to show the contents of the Koala Paint Rescue. So, in the past I've been using two nicknames. Ronsoft, Ron is short for Ronald, and soft for software, that makes sense. And FTL, that was actually in the past of the Commodore 64, it was faster than light. And I liked that abbreviation because in the arcade racing games also only would allow for 3 initials. And since I like to think that I am fast, I like that abbreviation. So in arcade halls I would use FTL. But sometimes I sneak in this name on the Commodore 64 as well. I think the company FTL no longer exists. So if I would make something funny on the Commodore 64 again, I might use FTL. But as you can see, I have actually copied this. And as a matter of fact, I even could save my picture from OutRun. That's why you get to see OutRun B and OutRun. Because this picture, at first it would have a bad sector error on the diskette. And then when I did the video to show you how to copy, and I wanted to show the picture of OutRun, and I said, well, if this loads in, it will make me look bad. And what do you think the program does? It loads it in. Only once, but it loads it in. And then I was so smart to save it again on the same floppy under a new name, so I've placed a B behind the name. So I can recognize which is the newly saved program, or picture I mean, and which was the original. I will test it out for myself if they both work now, because right now it's parked on an SD and not on a very old 40-year-old magnetic media, which can erode in time, and that's why I want to secure my stuff. So if I could only have a very good copy utility, that would make me very happy. At the moment, everything that I found in my system and on what I have been found on the internet, so far it wasn't successful. Only that program that just doesn't want to boot anymore, that's the only one that is so far able to copy a disk in one go from drive 8 to drive 9 in one go. Because I found programs, but then you have to swap disks. This is why there's still one formatted new disk in here. But I don't have a use of a formatted disk. I want to secure it in the Commodore 64 Ultimate, not on the old original floppy. Okay, this is everything for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you learned something, if you liked it, leave a thumbs up. And I hope to see you in the next video. Goodbye!